guys, it's Liv. I'm just outside in my yard. So I'm just doing a video today on how to be vegan when you're eating out at restaurants, and I actually asked for people's input and just asked a few questions on my Instagram a little while ago, and so I'm just gonna go through the comments and talk about some of the stuff. A lot of people just said Indian restaurants or Thai restaurants, so I think I'll start with those first. At Indian restaurants, they already have a lot of vegetarian options, so it is not hard at all for them to make things vegan. There's usually options for you can either get a meat one, or you can get a veggie one, or you can get paneer, which is like a cheese kind of thing. For the Indian restaurants that I've been to, they've been so accommodating with just letting me know which ones had dairy and which ones didn't, and they pretty much always have it marked if it's vegetarian or meat, so you know you're safe there. The other thing you should ask about at Indian restaurants is the naan bread. The Indian restaurant that I went to last time I went said that one of their cooks makes it with buttermilk and the other one doesn't, so it just depends who's working that day. So just make sure you ask so you would get a vegetarian meal, and then you would ask does this have dairy in it, or is it coconut milk? And it's so easy, you just need to ask a couple questions. It's not like most restaurants where you have to ask a lot of things. And they're pretty high carb at those places. They've always got lots of rice and naan bread and potatoes and just lots of good stuff, so it's really easy to get a high carb meal. So for Thai restaurants, I go to Thai restaurants a lot, and I've learned sometimes the hard way what to ask about at Thai restaurants to make sure that it's vegan. At Thai restaurants, again, it's pretty easy because they have usually the meat options and then the vegetarian and tofu options. But the things you need to watch out at Thai restaurants, are fish sauce, shrimp paste, oyster sauce, and eggs. In a lot of Thai food, they use fish sauce as the base of their sauce. So for example, in pad Thai, there's a lot of fish sauce in that. In a lot of their noodle dishes, they'll actually put fried egg in them, and they don't put it on the menu for some reason. I know that pad Thai usually lists that there's egg in it, but I've gotten a few noodle dishes before that actually came with egg in them, and it didn't list that on the menu, so I had to send it back, and I was like, you didn't specify this on the menu. So I always just ask now. One Thai restaurant I go to, they use oyster sauce in a lot of their things, and then in another restaurant I go to, they use fish sauce in a lot of their things, so I just make sure to ask. But at all the Thai restaurants I've been to so far, they have all been able to just make what I wanted without it, as long as it's not stuff that's already made up, hot and sour soup. That's usually already made up, and they can't make it without the egg and stuff, so they can't do those kind of things. But for the dishes that are made to order, they can almost always do it without the fish sauce or whatever. But again, at Thai restaurants, they use coconut milk a lot of the time instead of dairy, so you're pretty safe there. And yeah, I just get a pretty simple noodle dish, and I ask no fish sauce, no egg, and I ask for the veggie and tofu option, and it's awesome. So thank you, the Vegan Wonders, for suggesting that one. So Poop Like a Vegan says, maybe you could do a small part on food that one might assume is vegan at a restaurant but isn't. For example, most places use egg in falafel, or might fry things such as potatoes in non-vegan oily substances. So that's a good one. The place where I get my Lebanese food, the owners actually is vegan, or their family member is vegan, so they have on their sign, they have all the meals. On one of the meal things, it's the falafel plate, it has this big circle that says 100% vegan. So I know for a fact that those falafels are vegan, but since you, Poop Like a Vegan, are telling us that there is usually egg in falafel in places that you go, then that is definitely one to look out for. A lot of times, I will say this, if you go to a place and they have veggie burgers, I always ask if there's egg in it, because 9 times out of 10, if you're at a place that isn't very vegan friendly, but they do have a veggie burger, 9 times out of 10 it does have eggs in it. Places that might fry things such as potatoes in non-vegan oily substances. So this is kind of a debate. There's some people who think they don't eat fried things like French fries if they're fried in the same oil as meat, and I've just kind of been operating under the assumption that most places that serve a lot of deep fried food usually have a separate one for fries and a separate one for meat, and I think that's just due to contamination reasons and the fact that meat has more bacteria than potatoes do. But if there are smaller restaurants that you go to, I would definitely ask if they have separate fryers, or if it's the same fryer. And if it is the same fryer, that's just kind of something that you have to think about with yourself, like if you're comfortable with that or if you're not. If you're talking about frying things like vegetables and stuff in butter, I would just always ask, like if you go to a place and they say like, oh yeah, we can just do you up some vegetables and potatoes or whatever, just make sure to tell them no butter. Again, like butter is very expensive, so a lot of times they just use like a cheap canola oil. But yeah, I think that if you're getting, you know, potatoes or fries or something, just ask about the deep fryer. And if you are getting, if the chef says like, oh, I'll make you a meal, just make sure to let them know like that means no butter, because a lot of times people just don't think about that when they think vegan, because butter is just like, they just think of it as butter. They don't think of it as an animal product. Okay, Emily Q. Floyd says, my husband's trick is to order a bunch of sides like beans, potatoes, vegetables, etc. These can be found at most US restaurants. True, that is a very good tip. Ordering sides is a really good idea, because a lot of times you can just get like a baked potato with nothing on it, or you can get like steamed vegetables or something like that. So that is very good. Chains like Red Robin have boca and garden patties to replace beef. Mexican restaurants are usually great. Lots of beans and veggies. Yes, Mexican restaurants are great because you can literally just get like unlimited rice. Like I always just ask for extra rice because I'm not getting meat. And you can get like black beans and corn, rice, and that's like the basis of any meal you could ever need. And then you just get like your salsa, and none of that has animal products in it. Thing at Mexican restaurants that you just have to ask, because one of the rice ones at the place I go is cooked in chicken stock. So just ask if it's cooked with any butter or chicken stock, or like if it's just plain rice. Plantiful Soul, Beautiful Claire, says you should do a variety of different ethnic cuisines, such as Asian, Indian, American, Ethiopian. So yeah, I covered Asian, Indian, American, yes. Eating at those good old like pub style restaurants, man, they're tough. There's a pretty like all-American place that I can think of that's very meat and dairy heavy that I actually have eaten at before. It's called Boston Pizza, and we have it here in Canada. I don't know if you have it in the States or whatever, but when I have had to go there to eat before, they have a veggie burger, which is actually vegan. I just order it without the mayo, or I order plain pasta with just like plain marinara sauce, and basically it's just like a tomatoey, oniony kind of tomato sauce, and I just get that plain. They're always like, oh, do you want chicken on that? And I'm like, fuck no. So yeah, if you are at an American restaurant, you can usually get fries, a baked potato, lots of sides like Emily Floyd said, or you can get like pasta with just a plain tomato sauce. They're not going to be ideal probably. Just remember that it's only one meal, and it's not like a huge deal if you don't get like the most epic meal ever. As long as you can find something to eat, then you can always eat something later on. So American restaurants are probably the worst. Ethiopian, I do not know anything about Ethiopian restaurants, so I'm gonna have to like hand this one to the comments section, because I have never eaten at an Ethiopian restaurant. The Crazy Chickpea, she says, I think the trick is to be open and tell the waiter straightforward what you want. Like, I'm vegan, so I don't eat eggs, dairy, and meat. Could you please customize X to my needs? I was so hesitant to do that at the beginning, but mostly they just want you to be happy with your food and are really helpful. When I eat out, I don't want to end up with a side salad, and in good restaurants, everything is made fresh anyways. I agree. You never know what your waiter or waitress is going to know, so just, you know, make sure to tell them like, I'm vegan, and then if they do know what that is, they'll probably just come right out and say it. But if they don't, then just make sure to tell them like meat, dairy, eggs, fish, and tell them butter, because seriously, like a lot of people don't consider butter dairy. But yeah, all in all, like they just want you to be happy with your meal. And then Carly the vegan, this last one, says, yes, maybe at the end you could put in a part of how to feel comfortable asking if things are prepared in vegan oils and stuff as well. This whole video I've basically just been saying like, just ask if this has whatever, but what do you do if you are too shy to ask? And this used to be me. I not that long ago actually, I used to be way too shy to ask so many questions and I felt bad, but in my experience, like when I ask a lot of questions, I just make sure to be like super gracious to the waiter and let them know that I really appreciate their help and really appreciate them going to find stuff out for me. And yeah, I don't know, most of the time they don't mind. All I can say is that there's no like magic way to get more comfortable. It just comes with practice. I'm sure other people ask way more questions than you're going to, or I'm sure they get lots of questions all the time anyways. In order to get more comfortable, you just gotta do it. You just have to not feel embarrassed about it. Just practice getting comfortable with it and always be really gracious, and chances are they're gonna be super nice to you because why wouldn't they be? Like, you're not doing anything wrong, you're just asking questions. It definitely gets easier, and I have faith in you that you can do it. And yeah, I hope that was helpful. I hope you guys are having an awesome day. Let me know any other comments or questions you have below, and let's just start a conversation about asking questions at restaurants, because it's like pretty much a part of every vegan's life. So I love you guys, and I'll see you next time.